Okay. Let's see. If you can hear me, say something or type something, whatever, you know what I mean. Sorry, I'm just setting my shit up. Hopefully, my internet connection doesn't shit out on me. Probably. Knowing my luck, it probably will. Because unlike those grifters and the people that defend them, I'm not made of money. Whatever shitty internet connection I have to freaking just live with it. It's hotter than shit. For those of you who want to know how I'm doing, that's basically what's currently happening. Oh, great. It'd be nice. All right. Okay. Damn this computer. It's okay. Sorry. I started early because I did not have it was a placeholder. Let's just leave it at that. Fuck. Okay. All right. Oh boy. Is this going to be a doozy today? Isn't it funny? The only time lately for the past few streams I've ever talked about Star Wars, it's always been this on basically, hey, you know what? Fuck it. Let's just do it. Rather than just scheduling a stream that's going to happen within a week or a month from now, you know what? Fuck it. I decided it's been on my mind. And, well, let's just say I've been here. There's a new wave of controversy. Nothing new for the Star Wars fandom because there's always a fucking controversy. What else is fucking new? It's like saying the water is wet, because to say that there is a controversy in the Star Wars fandom is like saying there's like the water is wet or whatever kind of thing. That didn't come out right, but you know what I mean. It's like, it's not really shocking at this point. Like, if you think, for those of you who are coming here, who are expecting me to defend the Acolyte, you are mistaken. I don't fucking care about Acolyte, personally. I'm not going to go on a tangent on how much I don't like the show, because I haven't seen it, nor do I have any interest to, nor do I have anything against people that have seen the show or like the show. Because to me, I have already accepted that what I love about Star Wars isn't coming back. So getting angry over every little fucking thing that comes out is just pointless. Rather than doing what normal people do and just move on to something else, to move on to another hobby, or like finding something else to do, you have these people complaining or listening to grifters. Because I may end up repeating this multiple times, so don't be surprised if I repeat myself at points, because I have no idea how long this stream's going to be, and I don't know if I'm going to have issues with my internet connection or if my voice sounds robotic for those who are listening. And if it does sound robotic, I am sorry. I do not have control over my internet connection. After all, the people that I live with, we all have to share an internet connection, and it's gonna be fucking shit sometimes. The one time I want to do a stream, it has to do when it's weak. At least according to StreamYard, the connection's unstable, but we'll see. Just crossing my fingers it doesn't fucking kick me off StreamYard, and you guys have to stare at a blank screen for like 2 or 3 minutes as I set it up again. This controversy regarding like the Acolyte and the reaction towards it and the denial of things that are in everyone's fucking faces. It's like, I'm at a point where I'm just going to say this. If you refuse to see that there is a racism problem in the Star Wars community, that there's a transphobia problem and a homophobia problem and a misogyny problem, then you're part of the fucking problem for denying that these issues exist. You're part of the problem. It's like, I could say this because I'm a cis white man myself, so I'll fucking say it. Star Wars, the fandom as a whole, is predominantly white. The main faces of the Star Wars fandom, whether it's those who are opposed to Disney Star Wars or who are for it, are overwhelmingly white. Majority of those people who are not part of these groups choose not to be like active, because if anything has taught me anything about how the Star Wars fandom acts towards marginalized communities, it's never fucking pretty. It's like they always treat them like shit. It's like, oh no, we're not racist. We have these people from this X and X, Y, and Z. It's like bullshit. Actions speak louder than words. It really does. It really does speak louder than words. Like, how many goddamn times can you have the same damn thumbnail? And for those of you who've seen the thumbnails of people like Neurotic, Geeks and Gamers, Ryan Kennel, The Quartering, it's always the same racist garbage. Like, what do you mean it's racist? They're not using like slurs. There's more ways of being racist than saying the N-word. Like, they take the most unflattering images of mainly black women who are in Star Wars and make them look to be as ugly as possible or as angry as possible in order to invalidate any sort of criticisms they have. And it basically sets the stage what they're going to say in the video. And you can't win with these fucking people when it comes to good writing or bad writing, because any man who's in the same fucking position as these characters are never given the same fair treatment of, oh, this character is poorly written. That's never said about a badly written male character. But if it's a woman, whether she's badly written or not, she's considered like one of the most poorly written characters ever. It's like, are you fucking kidding me? As like, I'm serious. Are you fucking kidding me? I mean, this is exactly the kind of shit that I've been talking about for years. In fact, I'm going to say this. Time has only vindicated what I believe. I've only been proven right with time. I've only been proven right. Because every single time there's a controversy when it comes to racist harassing creators and actors or any people that's in any group, they mass harass them to the point where they either leave social media or have to private their social media. Like, now, like, it's like, okay, I don't fucking care about Acolyte, just to let people know. Just to because everybody like who watches it will probably tune this video off as soon as I say something you disagree with. Like, no, I don't fucking like Disney Star Wars. I'm not a fan of Disney Star Wars. I don't really like most of what Disney has put out. These grifters have ruined any critique that could be possible with any of the new material. Because it's basically filled of racist, misogynistic fucking garbage. And the very fact is, you can't bring up any of the legitimate issues that exist in these works, like The Last Jedi. It is fucking racist as hell against like black men. How Finn's character is treated in that film. How he's basically a black Jim Crow caricature of what a black man is. Like the kind of character you would have seen in the 50s. That movie turned a character that was prominent in The Force Awakens and demoted a character that was the second protagonist of the sequels to elevate a neo-Nazi. That's what I'm going to call Kylo Ren. We can't talk about how Star Wars basically threw John Boyega under the bus, how that actor got screwed over by Disney. We can't talk about that when we talk about The Last Jedi, because he doesn't like that film, John Boyega. He's made that known. The way he was treated was because of racism. We can't discuss that, or how the problematic stereotypes they do to Asian women when it comes to Rose Tico in The Last Jedi. We can't talk about that either because of these garbage freaking criticisms of The Last Jedi. Or we can't talk about that. Like, none of these criticisms I'm talking about can ever be brought up. Because every time they're ignored. It's because, oh, you're one of those people. It's thanks to these fucking grifters why nothing can be done about Star Wars at this point. We cannot demand better, because when we do demand better, they don't listen to those who actually generally want Star Wars to get better. They freaking want they listen to the people with the loudest voices, the freaking fandom menace. Who the hell do you think freaking Rise of Skywalker catered to? And they hated it too. Yeah. Fuck out Ryan Kennel. And I'll say this as an EU fan, as someone that's done EU content long before that fucker has. Long before anyone even know Ryan Kennel even existed. I've done EU content. I've reviewed EU novels. I defended the EU. I debunked nonsense about the EU. Long before that motherfucker entered the scene. And what is he doing now? Spreading fucking white supremacist garbage in his freaking videos. He's not even talking about fucking Star Wars. He's talking about political bullshit. Oh, they're not being political. Oh, yes, they are. Every time a black person appears. Oh, you're being political. Every time anyone from the LGBT community appears in any form of entertainment. Oh, you're being political. Every time, like anything that isn't a cis white man, it's being political. Like, they ruined any discussion about art at all in general. Like, there is no good critiques that you could really find of the sequel trilogy. I'm okay, maybe that's not true, but the very fact is there's so much garbage that exists out there because these grifters have dominated the conversation. And those who defend the Last Jedi, they also dominate the conversation. There's no room to actually discuss Star Wars as a whole. I fucking hope so, but I'm not going to hold my breath. I really hope they actually do fucking get demonetized. And if anyone who fucking who follows these people watches this, I don't care if these people get demonetized. They can get a real fucking job and actually do what normal people do and actually work for a goddamn living. That's what they can fucking do. I'm not going to lose sleep. It's like, where the hell is the defense for actual Star Wars fans who actually do Star Wars content? Why are those people not given any attention? But we're supposed to die on the hill of these grifters? I'm so glad I'm not part of this fucking fandom anymore. I'm like an outsider, so I can actually say this without fucking any fear of retribution. Then again, I'm not even afraid anymore. I mean, what the fuck do I have to lose? Like, I freaking am one of the few people I could say that actually has integrity out there. Yeah, Arcade Louder is a cuck. He really is a cuck. I used to respect the guy. He's a cuck. He really is a cuck. Anyone that bows down to any of these grifters does not have my respect. He does not have my respect. And I actually liked his content. Yeah, well, people do listen to him anyway. It's just another cover. It's the same bullshit. Yeah, I know. Doing what all like these people do. Every time they get harassed by someone like Star Wars Theory, they apologize like afterwards to them for standing up for themselves. It's the same cuck bullshit. Like, yeah, I will say that these people are cucks. He really is. You know what? I can't believe I'm saying this, and it hurts saying this Star Wars Explained has more balls than Arcade's Ladder. Hello Greedo has more balls than Arcade's Ladder. And that pains me saying that because I don't really like them that much. But here's the thing I will give credit to at least for Star Wars Explained. And I will say this. At least he talks about Star Wars lore. At least when he discusses something in the Star Wars universe, whether it's Legends or canon, he at least is discussing something. At the very least, he's discussing like the material that, at the very least, he's actually keeping the conversation on Star Wars. Even if I'm not a fan of him, I can at least respect him enough where he actually focuses on Star Wars lore, something he's been doing for a very long time. That, to me, deserves more respect than someone like Arcade's Ladder, who will apologize when he offends someone from the fandom menace. Like, fuck Star Wars Theory. Really. Fuck him. Yeah, I may have said, like, a while back that, oh, yeah, at least he made a fan film. But I don't fucking care about that anymore either, because if he truly cared about Star Wars, why is he associating with Geeks and Gamers and Ryan Kennel and Neurotic and the Quartering? They don't care about Star Wars. They do this to make money. They don't actually care. And in fact, there's Star Wars channels. And I'm not even going to call them Star Wars fans. I'm going to call them Star Wars consumers, not fans, because a fan and a consumer are not the same. Yeah, they don't. Disney is guilty of this too. They're guilty. They really are guilty of this too. Disney doesn't care. They really don't care. And, actually, I think this gets a good segue into the hypocrisy of those who are angry about The Acolyte getting canceled. Now, if you're not one of those people who, like, suddenly got outraged because, God forbid, a mid-show got canceled and you wanted to see more from it, and you're just upset that Disney canceled a show before it had a chance to get better, this is not going to be directed towards you. I'm directing this anger towards the people that have started this campaign to demonetize the hate grifters after so long of allowing these people to gather followers, to gather legitimacy, to basically take over the discourse on Star Wars as a whole. The very fact that they are doing this now, when they have hundreds of thousands of supporters, when they should have done it in 2019 at the very least. You fucking people waited too goddamn long to do anything. I've been ringing the fucking alarm for years, long before you did anything. You only do it now because you are affected by a mediocre show being canceled? Only now are you fucking doing anything rather than actually doing it when they were much weaker? When people like me were calling these people what they were, I was called crazy or extreme. Fuck you. Where was your outrage over the Raylos harassing John Boyega or freaking Adam Driver? Where was your outrage? Where was your outrage over Jake Lloyd or every other actor that's been harassed? Oh yeah, you may have talked about Kelly Marie Tran every now and then, but you didn't do anything even then. You were more angry over people not liking something. But now that you had something that you wanted canceled, now you fucking care? When Star Wars fans have had things that they loved that was basically canceled, when the EU fans lost the expanded universe, there was no outrage from your end. When Clone Wars was canceled originally, there was no outrage on your end. When Star Wars was given to EA, basically the Satan of gaming, there was no outrage. Every signal thing that were an outrage, you were silent. Of course, these are just one many examples. There are toxic emolents in the Star Wars fandom that are not just from the hate grifters, but those who are against them as well. They're against them for like the dumbest reasons. And don't get me wrong, I support deplatforming these people. I support weakening the fandom menace in whatever way possible. Whether it's demonetizing their shit. I fully support that. Not because of the Acolyte. Fuck the Acolyte. I don't give a fuck about Acolyte. In fact, fuck all of the Disney Plus shows. I support it because I am sick and tired of these people spreading white supremacist propaganda using Star Wars, a franchise that is against these things. Yeah, they do lack class consciousness. Of course they do. Oh, yeah, but what I'm saying makes too much sense. When I'm saying, oh my God, I have to reflect that I'm part of the problem too, because you are part of the problem. The fandom menace aren't the only ones that are part of the problem. Yeah, they're racist. Yes, they're homophobic. And there certainly are transphobic. And they're misogynistic as well. But you want to know something? This has been in your face since 2018. And you did nothing. Yes, there was those who called this out earlier than that. But they did it because people didn't like The Last Jedi. Not because of the negative impact they were having on Star Wars as a whole. Lucasfilm caved to these people. And I hate the sequel trilogy. And I will fucking say this until I die. You could write it in my tombstone. Fuck the sequels. But I will say this. The Rise of Skywalker is as bad as it is because Lucasfilm listened to these people and not to the actual fans that actually enjoyed the material. They didn't stay true to their guns and actually, you know what? Make a movie that followed through with The Last Jedi's events. Instead, you have a movie that's disjointed, yet you have a movie that makes no goddamn sense, and it's all because Lucasfilm listened to these people over the people that actually saw the goddamn movie. Yeah, of course, but it's not. Gina Carano, they hated her until she came out as being transphobic. Yeah, they do censor me. That is very true. But then again, I'll say this much. At the very least, I'm not getting paid for this, and some people may think, that I shouldn't be proud of it, but I am, because you want to know why? When people are hearing what I'm saying, at least they know what I'm saying isn't bullshit. At least they know my opinions are real, that this is what I truly mean. Why did I have people watch me before it was popular to shit on Disney Star Wars? Because I had the balls to say what most were afraid to say at the time. None of these grifters said anything that people like me didn't say before when it was unpopular, where the only place that was safe to say these things was in some echo chamber on Facebook, which I eventually had to leave because you know how Facebook is. Like, yes, I do think it sucks for those of you who enjoyed Acolyte, for those of you who wanted to see more, who wanted to see the story continue. I understand why as someone that's a fan of the expanded universe, there's some storylines that I want to see resolved, but it will never happen. I've already accepted that. And you know what? Welcome to the club of Star Wars fans that liked something that had what they were a fan of get canceled or ended before their time. Welcome to the club. But let's be realistic. The reason why YouTube will not do anything is because they make too much money off this hate grifting. That's why they won't do anything. And these cowards on YouTube, I do call them cowards, who just talk about Star Wars content. It's like, oh, YouTube, like according to YouTube, they took a look at these reports and they're not violating the terms of service. Like, yeah, the same cowardly shit. Even if they're, you know what? I'm just gonna say this. Fuck the terms of service on YouTube. Fuck the terms of service. And I'm just going to say that. Fuck the terms of service. Why? Why should I give a fuck about the terms of service? I'm just being real. They're not enforced. And there's people on YouTube that are raging Zionists. And this is not off topic, but it's the truth. That are basically spreading genocidal propaganda. But that's not violating YouTube's terms of service, according to YouTube. So yeah, fuck YouTube. YouTube allows genocide apologelia on its platform. It allows Holocaust revisionists on its platform. So, no. And you know what? The very fact that any Star Wars fan would be on the side of a corporation over fans, and I'm being charitable here. There are Star Wars fans that do want the hate to stop. Because it's gotten out of control at this point. It is impossible to have a conversation about Star Wars without a controversy happening every single goddamn day. Like it is impossible. It's like, oh, but you don't have to be on the internet. Well, I hate to break that to you, but we're so connected to the internet because of I don't know, we live in 2024, not 1977, where it was much more difficult to find out about these things. But there's a controversy, it seems like every single goddamn week. I don't know. I stay away from them personally. Yeah. Well, I'm a black sheep in the Star Wars fandom primarily because I'm an EU fan, but I hate EU fans. It's a contradiction, but yeah, I hate EU fans. Not because, well, let's just say those who were around during EU Gate would understand why I hate, the EU fans. Star Wars fans as a whole in general, but still, in some ways, the EU part of the fandom does represent some of the worst aspects of the Star Wars fandom in general. Yeah. I know, it's just... Honestly, it's just... I know those who are watching me, those who've been watching what I've been saying for years, or hear what I've been saying for years, I'm preaching to the choir here. All of you who are listening to me understand what I'm saying is fucking true. I'm preaching to the fucking choir. But those outside this, what do you call this? Echo chamber, I guess we could say. This is directed towards them. And I don't know how many of them will even bother watching this whole fucking stream, because they probably will turn it off because they're not going to hear what they want to hear. Because, this is something about Star Wars, the fandom as a whole, is there is no nuance allowed anymore. If there ever was nuance to begin with. Like, it's always a drama every week. You cannot simply just not like something. It's like, okay, that thing was okay. Or you have to extremely hate something. You can't just simply acknowledge the good or bad points. Yes. It's like, I forgot this woman's name. I know she hates Ahsoka, so but by the way, she's a woman. She doesn't really like Ahsoka very much, and she did a video about Acolyte, basically calling it a mid-show and praising the good things about it, just talking about how it could improve. And she was getting pushback by her own fans for saying something good about the Acolyte. It's like, seriously, people, seriously. This is the problem with the Star Wars fandom as a whole. We are not allowed to simply discuss the material in any fucking way. Like, maybe it's like, this is good, but, there's some things I feel like I'm not a big fan of. Or, this wasn't that bad. I mean, I would never have done this. Or I wish, this wasn't that things went like this. Or, you know what? I like what the store was going for, but I don't know if I like the execution. Or, I like this story, even though it's bad. It has some cringy moments, but I love it anyway. Like, we're not simply allowed to simply enjoy things that are mid or bad. It's either this is the worst fucking thing ever, or it's the best thing ever. We're not allowed to simply just critique something or like something that may not be a masterpiece. That's where we live at in Star Wars as a whole. Like, everything has to be either a masterpiece or an absolute dumpster fire. There is like no in between. There's no like, this story is actually really good, or this story is, it was it was shit, but there's certain things I liked about it. Honestly, I hate the word nuance, and it's, at least I've grown to hate the word nuance ever since fucking that one certain video by that certain YouTuber I will not name. Yeah, exactly. We can't actually just discuss Star Wars and legitimately discuss Star Wars. It's like, there's a controversy all the goddamn time. It's like every time there's a discussion, it's like this story is not canon, or it's like, I can't, this story is bad because of the X, Y, and Z. Like, we can't actually just look at the story independently and just say, and look at it as its own work of art, or just say, like, you know what? I don't like this story. You know what? I don't have to consider it canon and just move on. Assuming nuance existed in the first place. Okay. I don't hate... Okay, the thing is, when it comes to the new canon, as long as it's not post Return of the Jedi or original trilogy era, I'll give it a shot. Simply because as long as the writing is good. But other than that, I'm not going to be able to like enjoy anything past that, because I don't like the sequel trilogy, and you know what? I have a right to feel that way. Like, in my opinion, like, I think Thrawn's, like, the Thrawn Ascendancy trilogy is some of the best Star Wars novels that have been written in a long fucking time. In fact, I think the Ascendancy trilogy is the best series of Star Wars books in the past 10 years. Like, the amount of depth it gave to Thrawn, like the amount of stuff it added to the Chist, the amount of stuff we learned about the Chist Ascendancy and the planets that surround them, and how the ruling families worked. It's like, it actually felt real. It was actually a really good story. And you know what? it actually kind of made Thrawn into a really tragic character that unfortunately goes to a really, really dark path. And in fact, I could easily see this story fitting in Legends to some extent. Even if it's not 100% compatible, I still love the story. Thrawn in those novels feels like Thrawn to me. I don't see a difference between when Timothy Zahn writes Thrawn for the new canon or writes Thrawn in the EU, because they feel similar enough. It's like, I love those books, and I will die on the hill that they're great books. Even if you're not the biggest fan of the new canon, I think they are amazing, especially if you are a fan of Thrawn and you just want more stuff on the chiss. It's like, it's one of the few books in Star Wars that don't have humans in it. And that's what makes it freaking good. It's something unique and something different. Like, Timothy Zahn is a master when it comes to writing military science fiction, when it comes to writing political thrillers. Like, there was not a single dull moment in those books. And that's canon material. But I can't discuss that with EUP fans because, oh my God, you betray the EU. It's blasphemy. You're reading something even that is not part of the EU, even though Timothy Zahn himself is writing this. Someone who was heavily involved in the EU. It's like, yeah, oh yeah, I have to freaking just like treat the fucking like the legends like the sacred texts. I don't know if I quoted Luke Skywalker right in The Last Jedi, but that's essentially what they act like Luke Skywalker in The Last Jedi when regarding legends. They're like a bunch of religious fundamentalists. It's like, I love the EU. It's like, but for the love of fucking God, not every story is a masterpiece in that continuity. Not every story is a masterpiece. I mean, have you watched my reviews? Of course, most of you who hate me don't pay attention to what I do when I did my reviews, because I actually talked about the stories. I'm not going to say all of them were good. Don't get me wrong. You know, I could have done better a lot of my reviews, but again, I was inexperienced. I learned a lot. Yeah. And you know what? One thing that really pisses me off about these people that follow these grifters, they stand for the EU, yet how many of them actually picked up a book from the expanded universe and actually experienced these stories for themselves instead of parroting what other people have said? This story is better than Disney Star Wars. How do you know? Because X, Y, and Z said so. Oh, so you never read them. All right. Or, oh yeah, Luke Skywalker is such a badass in the expanded universe. Okay, what story are you talking about? What did Luke do in that particular moment that made him a badass? Fuck you. You're, yeah, you can literally fucking sum it up by the average Star Wars Legends stan as someone that's never read the EU in their lives and never will, because they're too fucking lazy to pick up a book or, God forbid, pirate a PDF and just read the goddamn thing. It's not like there aren't millions of ways to experience these books now. There's audiobooks, whether it's an AI reading it so you don't have to read it yourself, or Audible. There's many different ways to experience these stories. There is not a shortage of ways to experience them, but they're too goddamn lazy to even do the bare minimum. Then again, reactionaries don't fucking read. They really don't, majority of them. And if they do read, they read garbage like Jordan Peterson's 10 Rules for Life. That's probably the only thing they probably read, if they've read anything. It's like, say what you will about Star Wars Explained. He actually knows his shit. If any of these people were to debate people like myself or Star Wars Explained, they'd be fucking bitch slapped. Like with one book, and bitch slapped by another book because I fucking not an expert at all when it comes to the EU, but I could actually recite things from the EU. Like I know fucking literal quotes from some EU characters like Thrawn. Do you know the difference between an error and a mistake? No. An error becomes a mistake when you refuse to correct it. Now it's been corrected. Yeah, it's one of those classic lines from Star Wars Legends about Thrawn talking about the difference between an error and a mistake. So fucking amazing. It can apply to real life, and I love it so much. It's like Acolyte. It's like so dumb. It's like these people are so dumb. They will go on freaking Rotten Tomatoes and mass dislike something despite the fact there's multiple things named Acolyte. They can't tell the difference. And speaking of Rotten Tomatoes, I'm gonna say this. It's thanks to these people, Rotten Tomatoes cannot be trusted anymore. At all. You cannot trust the audience score any more than you can trust the critics score. The critics score, at least you know it's an actual fucking review. Well, everyone could freaking just say their stupid nonsense in the audience score, and it's like ridiculous. Like Acolyte had such a low score even before it even aired. You had people already review bombing it. It's like I don't even trust anything from Rotten Tomatoes. Honestly, I never trusted Rotten Tomatoes to begin with. I never have. But the very fact is, the one part of the Rotten Tomatoes scores I did trust was the audience score. But because of Acolyte, I'm reluctant to even trust anything from Rotten Tomatoes now. Yeah, they're just like your average Christian. They'll talk about how much they love the EU but never read it. Just like Christians will talk about how Christian they are, yet they cannot cite a single passage from the Bible. That's basically Christian fundamentalists in a nutshell. That's exactly what these EU like simps are. They never read anything from the EU, but they claim they're huge fans. Yeah. I don't know if I would call them woke, but yeah, I get your point. But still, okay, I'm not religious at all, but it is a good comparison because the average Christian fundamentalists have never read the Bible in their lives. Yet they'll claim that they're big Christians. Just like EU fans claim they're the biggest EU fans, yet how many books have they read? It's a literal fucking cult. That's what the Star Wars fandom has literally become, a cult. Like, they don't actually want to talk about anything that of substance in Star Wars. It's always the same shit. Like, oh, this thing is woke. This thing is bad because of this X, Y, and Z. Like, I can't even criticize anything anymore without being lumped with these idiots. I can't. In fact, you know the reason why I got so political to begin with? It's because every time there was a new controversy after The Last Jedi, I had to freaking be political because I did not want to be freaking lumped with a bunch of fucking racists because I didn't like The Last Jedi. I was forced to be racist for that. No, not racist, sorry. Forced to be political for that very reason. Jesus Christ, it's so fucking hot. I misspoke. Yeah, fucking, it's so confusing. Man, the more this continues, the more this is gonna change to something else. I'm gonna end it in a bit because I don't know what more I can say. Honestly. The Star Wars fandom is a fucking mess. Then again, that's just like saying, the water is wet. That's just like saying, yeah, that's like preaching to the choir. It's like, yeah, whatever, Jordan, it's nothing new. Or, or whatever, Darcenova. Yeah, you're saying what everyone else is saying, but still, the Star Wars fandom as a whole, it's fucked. It's like the real reason why there isn't that many people of marginalized communities that actually show themselves and actually do content about Star Wars or for Star Wars, because they never get any support. They never do. Why should someone who's from a black background or LGBTQ, why the fuck should they do anything about Star Wars when they're not going to be backed up? And what I'm going to say is not controversial because it's fucking true. White people are the problem in the Star Wars fandom. It's white fucking people. White people are the reason why this shit is problematic as it is. White culture is a fucking cancer that even those who support Disney Star Wars have this mentality as well. They do not give a damn about those who are not white who get harassment. Like, Star Wars has a freaking white supremacist problem, regardless if it's those who support Disney Star Wars or those who are against Disney Star Wars. There is a freaking white supremacist problem. It's systemic in the Star Wars fandom. There is no denying it. Every time these people get harassed, every time they say anything that the status quo disagrees with, they get driven off or are forced into silence. I've seen it happen time and time again. There isn't that many people of African descent that are open as Star Wars fans, because it's not safe to be open when you have a atmosphere that is being enabled by YouTube and Lucasfilm themselves that doesn't make these people feel safe. Star Wars fans don't actually defend each other, especially marginalized groups. If you're white, you're the status quo in the Star Wars fandom, and you're a man, you're the status quo. You're going to be defended, especially more if you're going to be more defended if you're a fucking grifter, like Jeremy of Geeks and Gamers, like Neurotic, or The Quartering, or Ryan Kennel, and that Star Wars girl, than anyone who's from any other group. And you know what these people I named have in common? They're white. All of them are fucking white. And those who deny that there is a racism problem are white. Star Wars fans aren't racist. Bullshit. Actions say otherwise. The very fact that every single time that there's a new actress of color that appears, they get harassed, they get stalked on social media, they get driven off social media, they suffer slander. Anytime someone's part of any LGBT group, the first thing that they do is slander them or look for any dirt possible because they're LGBTQ. But if someone who's white, who's more problematic, they ignore any problematic things about them. That's exactly what these people are. They don't actually care. Even those that virtual signal about caring about racism, they don't either. They constantly throw these people under the bus. They only do it because it has to do with the brand. It has nothing to do with actually giving a shit about the actual community that is not safe in this fandom. There is no safety for marginalized people in the Star Wars community. It's ableistic, racist, misogynistic, and homophobic and transphobic. That's what we have in the Star Wars fandom. We don't have any defenses for anyone who are fans of Star Wars who are part of these marginalized groups. Star Trek, though, if you're a Star Trek fan, you're more likely to get support than you will under Star Wars. And you know what? That is why Star Wars is better than Star Trek and always will be. Because at the very least, if you're part of the Star Trek community, you're going to be safe. Far safer than you will in Star Wars. In Star Wars, if you're not white and you're not cis and you're not a straight white male, you are far more likely to suffer harassment and ridicule unless you stay silent, because that's what they expect you to do. If you're not part of these communities, if you're part of these communities, you're expected to stay silent. You're not allowed to have a voice. Or if you say anything, you're gaslighted to thinking that you're part of the problem. Like that one, woman that basically spoke about the racism she suffered, and it was all and she was blamed for her own freaking harassment, victim blaming. That's the Star Wars fandom as a whole. It's garbage. It's a terrible fucking community. There is a reason why I walked away. Because why should I care about this fucking fandom when it doesn't care about these groups or care about people like me who do suffer, some form of disabilities? Why should I care? Why should I care when someone gets harassed by these people? It's downplayed or ignored. Star Wars fans have never backed me up once when I got a legion of neo-Nazis harassing me. When I stood up to the Scoundrels Cantina, when they did their anti-Semitic and transphobic and misogynistic video back in 2019. I had no support. That's why the Star Wars fandom, to me, can get fucked. It could burn in a fucking fire for all I care. I really do not care. I've gotten support from other fandoms, but never Star Wars. Star Wars fans are the worst. If you're one of the rare exceptions of Star Wars fans who have not done the things that I'm talking about, you're the minority. You're an anomaly. Star Wars has never been a friendly place for non-white males. It's never been a friendly place. If you are part of these communities and you're a fan, you have to be silent. Just even then, that's not even enough. Just your very presence is enough to trigger these people. The very fact is, if you're not a fan of Star Wars in the same way they are, you're not a real fan. Like, if gatekeeping was ever justified, it'd be against these people. Considering the fact that I'm an outsider anyway, I'm just going to say I am better than these people. I see myself as superior as a fan. Because at least I'm a Star Wars fan. At least I actually care about Star Wars. At least I'm a fan. I love Star Wars, and I've been a fan for most of my life. I could actually say that. I appreciate Star Wars. Truly appreciate it. Not look at the superficial shit and it's like, oh my God, Star Wars, this is cool. Oh, this story is really good. No, I actually look deeper into these stories. I truly do love Star Wars. I love the EU as well. I see these stories of what they truly are, and can't believe just how well put together the EU was. I could talk for hours on how great the world building was in the Thrawn trilogy and the story that followed it, the Jedi Academy trilogy. But I can't discuss that. Why should I waste my time? Because no one will care if I discuss this. Because Star Wars fans are more interested in tearing each other down and tearing down creatives just because they don't fucking agree with a certain thing. Star Wars fans do not understand what good writing is or bad writing because they assume bad writing is something they don't like. They use bad writing as a shield to shield their racism and sexism towards people of other marginalized groups. They always use bad writing. They put people of marginalized groups in an impossible pedestal that they cannot possibly meet because white males are not held in the same standard. You can have worsely written characters than Rey that are white, but they're not held to the same standards as Rey is. And I don't like Rey. I think Rey's a bad character. But that completely proves my point. You can look at a plethora of badly written characters that are not women, that are white men that don't get the same scrutiny. It is sexist, it is racist. These people feel threatened that for the first time in a fandom that's prominently dominated by white people, that it doesn't revolve completely around them anymore. No matter what I do, no matter what I say, I'm hated by both sides. The pro Disney side will hate me because they'll just claim that I'm anti Disney Star Wars, despite the fact that I'm anti Fandom Menace. The Fandom Menace will claim I'm a shill, even though I hate Disney Star Wars as a whole. So as a whole, I cannot win with either group. I really cannot. But at the very least, I'm sincere when I say. I can say that much. The same can't be said for any of these grifters who do nothing but grift off hate and make money off hate. Nothing they say is their actual opinion. These people don't work for a living. They don't do real fucking work. I actually have to work for a living. I don't have the luxury of getting a better computer or better recording equipment. I don't have the luxury of not having to worry about missing a day of work. Otherwise, I could be homeless because I miss one day. They don't have to worry about that. All these fucking people are privileged. All of them. In one way or another. The very fact that Jeremy could just quit his fucking job in 2016 in order to see Rogue One and not have any financial repercussions disgusts me. The very fact that someone like that can do that and claims that he's a hard worker and gaslights people who actually work for a living, who demand a higher fucking pay. Fuck these people. Seriously. None of these people are your friend. For those of you who are dumb enough to actually believe that, they don't give a damn about you. Geeks and gamers would those like him would freaking walk all over your fucking dead body if it meant they can get one more dollar out of you. That's just how disgusting these people are as human beings. They don't care about art. They don't care about humanity. They're some of the evilest people that exist out there. They're a part of the Star Wars community. They're spreading racist garbage to impressionable people and turning a new generation of young people into fucking white supremacists. That's what these people are doing. They're propagandists. You don't have fucking Alex Jones who sold out to Donald Trump and not claim these people. This is not a political movement. They are political. They are fucking political. Yeah, he did. But the very fact he could do that shows that he is privileged. He really was privileged. I wonder what his economic background is. None of these people are working class. None of them. They don't come from working class backgrounds. I don't know exactly what their financial background is, but I know it's not working class. Like the working poor cannot afford to freaking just quit a job just so they can see a fucking movie. I'm talking about financially. I'm not talking that none of these people actually have had any hardship that I can think of that actually matter to people like me. Most of my subs who watch me, they're not privileged. A lot of them live paycheck to paycheck or depend on government subsidies to keep them housed. So I don't have any empathy or sympathy for any of these people. I really don't. If these people were to lose everything, I just wouldn't care because I don't believe for a second that these people didn't start off privileged to some extent before they did their shit on YouTube. Like, Argentina. Oh, you poor bastard. Yeah, if you were a comic book owner, you're fucking privileged. I'm sorry. You have to have some form of capital if you own a comic shop, because most people wouldn't be able to do that. Oh, you mean that fucking idiot who could have his entire government watch Bad Empanada's video taken down by a guy that's nicknamed Elf? I'm not joking. A guy that surgically made himself look like an elf can potentially take down the government of that country. I'm not fucking exaggerating. Watch the Bad Empanada's video on it. It's fucking hilarious. Oh, God, that feels good. Holy shit. If I didn't think this was important, I would not have done it, because it's fucking hotter than shit. Oh, fuck. I hope next time I do a Star Wars related video, it's not related to this garbage, because I would kind of like to do something about different for Star Wars, because unfortunately, when I do anything that's positive about Star Wars, it gets no views. But when I do something like drama related, people watch it. It's like, yeah, I wonder what Darth Sinovia is going to rant about next. Look, and I'm gonna be real with you people. Rants is what I fucking do best, in my opinion. It's what I've been doing before I did Star Wars content. So yeah, this is Darth Sinovia before Darth Sinovia did Star Wars. I've done rants for years. Yeah, though I have to reread every Thrawn book and that songbook, and that would take forever. Oh God. Wait, he wrote novels? Oh God. Holy shit. Holy fucking shit. He actually wrote a book. Oh God. Holy shit. Holy fucking shit. He wrote a fucking book. Oh my God. Fuck. Holy shit. I know Rageaholic wrote novels too. Oh yeah, I know. All these grifters have wrote something. Isn't it interesting how all these people who end up like who are failed artists tend to be fascists? It's something to think about. Regardless how bad Acolyte is, it's still better than anything Neurotic can write. It's certainly better than anything Ben Shapiro can write. I think I should end this stream, because the topic is starting to shift. But okay, let me reiterate one more time, because before I end this, those who wanted to push for the campaign, who still want to get these people deplatformed or demonetized, you're years too late. You should have gotten together and done this back in 2019. Or, 2020. When they were pushing racist garbage about George Floyd. You missed your opportunity to push to get these people removed. To have them lose their freaking platform to have them lose their monetization. You had your opportunity, and you let it slip by. The very fact that you only cared after Acolyte got canceled, and that was the last straw for you, fuck you. You didn't care until that happened. And I'm not going to go die on the hill of Acolyte deserves a second season, because fuck Acolyte. I'm not gonna support a second season. Why should I? When you only care about this hate campaign now after this garbage got canceled, rather than doing it because you genuinely actually care about racism and fandom. You don't. You never did. So yeah, fuck you. And those of you who are too cowardly to even take a stand against hate, fuck you too. Who continue to deny that racism exists in the fandom, from the Thor Skywalkers to everyone who refuses to actually say no or to say enough is enough. Fuck you. I'm not going to freaking waste my time trying to reason with any of you, because you can't be reasoned with. Your perfect opportunity So yeah, screw you. Screw both of you. As far as I'm concerned, those who are fighting over Acolyte and those who one way or the other, they could die in a fire for all I care. That's just how I feel about it. Fuck both sides. Neither one of them are legitimate. They have no legitimate moral argument. They only care about it for their own selfish reasons. The fandom matters because they're a bunch of racist fucking garbage human beings. The other people only care because their show is canceled. So yeah, fuck you both. Free Palestine. May the force be with you. Always.